Hello and a warm welcome to yet another experience on TV here at Enterprise Television. And what a way to start the morning than to quickly take a look at everything that is worth knowing at the moment. Today is Wednesday, May 29, and for us here in Nigeria, it's the day we commemorate democracy's birthday. I am Choma Okoye.
Yes, and I am Henry Igwibike.
Henry, it's happy birthday democracy.
Yes.
Yeah, dividends or not.
Dividends or not. Hysterically today, someone chuckled and told me, happy subsidy is gone day. You know, the one day Nigerians will not forget in a hurry.
The one day Nigerians will not forget in a hurry. And we're still living in the reality of it. Okay, we head straight into our newspaper segment, but not without first inviting you to be a part of our community and have a say in what we say. We are at Enterprise TV 7 across all social media. You may subscribe, comment, like, and share. You may also log onto our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Our guest for this segment is journalist and public affairs commentator, Emeka Madunaga. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
And welcome.
Hello.
Henry, you take it from here.
Yes, let's start off with our newspaper headlines. And of course, first on the list is the Punch newspaper. And the big story here says Tinubu'S first anniversary gift. Federal government plans a fresh cash transfer scheme for 75 million Nigerians. And
I would read out what is here on the front page of the Punch. 1 year of the Tinubu administration, building a safer, stronger and prosperous Nigeria.
Yes, and on the top strip of the same newspaper, minimum wage talks collapse again as Labour rejects 60,000 naira. Emeka, let's get into the meaty part of this this online version of the Punch newspaper. Federal government plans fresh cash transfer scheme for 75 million Nigerians. Should we see this as another propaganda coming from the administration? Because of why would it come exactly the day that that marks his first anniversary?
Well, I would like to just say that interventionist programs don't build an economy. Interventionist programs, you know, just like bandage, putting bandage on an injury. You need to take that person, you know, to get proper medical care. And that is what our economy needs right now. Our economy needs proper medical care because our economy is in the intensive care unit. It is a shambles. So when you keep, you know, Buhari for 8 years, you know, kept using conditional cash transfers, and inflation kept rising. This is one of the triggers of inflation because you throw money, you know, into the economy for people to spend mainly on food and essentials. You are not putting money into the economy for production. You're not putting money into the economy for expansion. You're not putting money into the economy for investment. And you can't run an economy where you, out of a population of 200 million people, you classify 75 million as being poor. That is very wrong. The employment rate is over 50 million Nigerians. Get them jobs. I don't believe in this welfarist thing. I'm sorry. I don't believe in all these welfare schemes, the dole and all these things. I don't believe in them. I believe in, look around. There are problems that present opportunities, golden opportunities, low-hanging fruits. And one of the things I believe, one of the areas is public works. Imagine engaging 75 million Nigerians in agriculture, agro-processing, public works, cleaning the streets, being on the streets as, you know, tax officers, you know, getting engaged in transportation, you know, working as, you know, transport officers to ensure that, you know, people don't, traffic officers, that people don't park on the roads, that people park properly, that, you know, places where children and other pedestrians have to cross the road, that they can cross the road safely. When you engage people in these things, let me tell you, there are different ways by which you can get Nigerians to happily pay for these things. And so you will get funding to take care of these things. If the usual Nigerian system of stealing public funds does not encroach on it.
But Emeka, you will agree with me that for decades, the West has, adopted food stamps for its people. So isn't that another?
No, it is conditional. The conditional assistance is also conditional. Once you get a job, those food stamps stop. Yeah. And you know what? For instance, in Canada, they'll keep encouraging you to get a job. Nobody is going to encourage you to just lie on your bed and then you do nothing. Then you go out in the morning to go and get some packs of food. Okay. Nobody will encourage you on an unsustainable basis because it's not sustainable. And then how do you know those who are poor? How do you know? I've been involved in it. I actually try to get such for my community where I live. The funny thing, so somehow I got the information, I got the contact of the consultant for the state. And I asked, okay, I live in so and so place. There are widows here. There are people that would reasonably believe, yes, are part of the vulnerable members of society. Actually, there are people who take care of them, pay their utility bills, doing festivals, give them all of this. So, please, we want this conditional cash transfer to. They said, no, your local government area is not classified as having many poor people. So I was taken aback. What do you mean by that? These are people, you can send your officers to come and assess these people, to come and assess their living conditions.
Now, I'm sorry to cut you short, Emeka. Now, if this money was channeled towards the minimum wage, because now there's a minimum wage talks collapse again as Labour rejects 60,000 naira. If this money that was supposed to be given to the 75 million Nigerians are channeled to the minimum wage, and also let's talk about the ASU lecturers that are underpaid.
Yes.
Do you think that would have had more weight than these 75 million Nigerians that we cannot trace and can't tell who is poor and who is rich? Because looking at Nigeria, we don't really have data.
Thank you very much. You see, I don't believe in a national minimum wage. There are these things we just use in burdening ourselves. How can somebody in Lagos be earning the same thing as somebody in maybe Zungeru or Gembu or one very remote area? They don't live in the same environment. So there should be, what we should strive for is a living wage. National living with no minimum wage. Because you know why government is being, is foot dragging on the demand. Labor's demand, some people believe is quite high, 494,000 at the last count. Government is talking of 60,000. Don't forget that this is going to cascade to the private sector. Operators in the private sector already claim that even that 60,000, it might be difficult for them to provide it. And I tell you what, who ensures the implementation of this minimum wage? You need to go to factories owned by foreigners to see what people are being paid. You need to go to schools, private schools. There are people who earn 12,000, 15,000. So it's not just about the national minimum wage. What you need to do is take this money, put it into certain sectors of the economy. There are certain sectors that have proven to be promising in quarter, that proven to be promising in quarter 1, 2024. Motor vehicle manufacturing. All these local car assemblers, Now, people have been taking loans to buy those vehicles, to buy especially their low budget vehicles. And then they've also been exporting to other countries. Then you have the financial sector. You have these loan apps that people have been getting loans for, for rent, school fees, and all of that, to take care of personal needs. Then you also have the, manufacturing sector, like packaged water, bread and all of these things. So then there's the agro processing. And for a long time, agriculture was the highest contributor to our GDP. Then you also have the petroleum sector and the allied, industries, filling stations, provide, they keep selling fuel, kerosene, and all of that to people. And, of course, you have LPG. So these things keep they keep the economy, the wheel of the economy grinding. So if you put money into all of these things, you know what? You are going to reduce the number of people who have to make recourse to use firewood, to use charcoal, and then you save the environment. Like my people in the village, whenever I travel home, they say, our gas is finished, though. We need to go and fill gas. Of course, these are things that like 10, 20 years ago, you won't have heard from people, because they'll just go into the bush and gather firewood. But now they say, the gas is finished, though. We need to replace the tabletop. So when, these things on a recurring basis, people have to feel serious. It provides job. It provides, for the economy, distribution of wealth. Money can circulate.
Very true. So the value chain actually, trickles down to everybody. That's awesome. But let's move on to our next daily for today.
Yeah, the Vanguard newspaper, and the big story here: strike looms as minimum wage talks end in deadlock again.
Yes, and also on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have 16 Tinubu must do to succeed. That's coming from Atiku Abubakar.
On Kano Emirates Tasso, courts give conflicting orders on Sanusi's removal.
Yes, and very true on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, Biafra Day. IPOB insists on May 30 sit at home in the southeast of Nigeria.
And moving into the federal government debts, said federal government now has enough to clear debts. That is coming from Wale Edom.
Good. I think that's the best we have on the Vanguard newspaper. So what could be your striking?
For me, it's, I want to ask, where is the money coming from to clear enough debts? That is coming from Wale Edom. Because looking at the current state of Nigeria,
I think that headline was not properly cast.
So what would you
because if Nigeria has enough money to clear all her debts, or what are you talking about? Domestic debts? You have foreign debts, you have domestic debts, and you have treasury bills are being sold on a regular basis. You have green bonds, you have euro bonds, and these things have not matured. How can you not say you have money to pay? If Nigeria had that kind of money, the economy, you and I would have felt it now. Money, I think that headline needs wasn't well cast.
Now you saying that we would have felt it. I tried to say that
money will be circulating. What are we talking about?
Money will be circulating.
Yes.
But maybe he's trying to say that in the next few months we're going to feel the impact of something.
Come on.
People
just say all manner of things. The same Wale Edom and the CBN governor Cardoso told us some months ago that they will soon tame inflation. Just some days ago, Cardoso said there's nothing I can do about inflation. Let's see. Let's hope. So what are we talking about? You can see the United States has already, there are projections that going into 2025, that growth will contract to 1.25%. So they are looking at different areas. So instead of promising people, a kind of, bringing out an Hosanna cry, a Eureka, oh, I have it. No, let these people tell us the truth. We can break these things down gradually. There's nobody saying, it's an individual that has to make, efforts to quickly settle their debt so that they can have, regular inflows, but not a nation, because debt is part of, business. It's also part of the business of government. So when you say you have enough money to settle your debts, look, you are not speaking the truth.
All right.
And I say that without any fear of contradiction.
Yes, still on the same newspaper, I would love you to quickly take us on the Kano Emirate tussle. As it stands today, both emirs are insisting that they are staying behind. What do you think this means for traditional leadership in Kano and Nigeria?
I think the judiciary is really causing problems for us in Nigeria. We do respect to my lords, the justices involved in this matter. You see, the Supreme Court, pardon me, I don't remember the particular case, but the Supreme Court ruled in a matter that a high court, the high court of a state, has unlimited powers to look into issues that have to do with rights and so all these things. And basically, the federal high court is limited by jurisdiction to federal matters, according to section 251 of the Constitution. But chieftaincy matters don't fall under federal matters. There is no traditional ruler who is under the control of the federal government. So it's actually a local government matter. It's a municipal matter. So for the federal high court to be giving, different federal high courts giving rulings, and then the high court of Kano State has come out to say that Ado Bayero should be evicted from the palace, that Sanusi should not be evicted from the palace, and then the federal high court coming to say that Sanusi should be evicted. Look, let me tell you something. You see, these are courts of coordinate jurisdiction. Let's forget all this drama, that paid agents of government, try to play online. There are some of them who try, that's how they feed and pay their bills, just come and cause confusion on social media. That matter is within the jurisdiction of the High Court of Kano State. Whatever the federal high court is, they know themselves. First of all, look at the order from a judge in the US. They know that these things are they're just making, they're just ridiculing the judiciary. And it should not be.
Very true.
The state government, the State House of Assembly has passed a law. The governor has signed it. If anybody has any challenge to it, it is to approach the High Court of Kano State. Not jumping all over the place, the judiciary needs to save its own self, because this is not good.
Very true. All right, so quickly let's move on to our last daily for today. It is coming from the Guardian newspaper, and the big story here says opposition loyalists bicker over Tinubu'S performance outlook, and that's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper.
It's still on the Guardian newspaper. Another strike looms as Labour rejects federal government's fresh 6,000 wage offer.
Yes, and on the side of that particular story that Choma just read, where is President Tinubu'S renewed hope agenda? And that's the editorial of the same newspaper. And lastly here is Kano royal crisis gets messier as courts issue conflicting orders. Details are on page 9. Very true. So let's take on this one. 4,416 persons killed, 4,334 abducted under Tinubu'S on that Tinubu report reveals. But interestingly, I would love to maybe Emeka, I would love you have worked as a press with a print organization, and there's something interesting here. Almost every of the headline newspapers have this 1 year of Tinubu'S administration, building a safer, stronger and prosperous Nigeria. So tell us, how does this work? How much must have been paid to newspaper houses to have
serious money? It can't be less than, this thing can be less than 8 to 10 million if it does not increase up to 20 million with the state of the economy. Well, it's good for the newspapers, at least for those of them who are owing salaries, because I know some of them are owing salaries 6 months or so. It's good for them. Let there be money to pay to offset the salaries of workers. Let workers go home too, and enjoy Democracy Day. Yes, So it's funny, when people, there's no need, for any argument. If the people are enjoying the economy, it will be there. You see, when people, one of my relations was telling me the other time, he lives abroad. He said, I have people in Nigeria, who tell me that, things are not as bad as portrayed. I now put certain questions to him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said, ask them these questions. You might be in a good paying job. Maybe, your housing, maybe they are paying you housing allowance, maybe paying you for domestic servants and certain things, so you won't feel it. There are people who live in a bubble, there are people who live in a bubble. Okay. But we the people, we live among the people, and we know that, look, if I show you my phone, I need money. I get regular requests from people who need money for one thing or the existential issues. And that's the same thing for anybody who is working and earning a salary. Go and ask them, even including you. If you're earning a salary, go and ask the number of requests every day.
Very true.
So if the economy was working, of course, we would have heard numbers that more people have been employed. We wouldn't be talking of hyper. Gary, a paint, 4,000. Yesterday, half bag of Gary, it told me 27,000. And I told my wife, she shouted. So what are you saying? You don't need to bicker. The point is encourage the government to do better. That's all.
Okay, Emeka, now to say today is May 29th, and the president was sworn in by this time last year. So in 3 words, what will you say to the president if you're to see him and tell him, looking forward, what should be the changes? What are Nigeria?
The 3 words, Tinubu, sit up.
Tinubu sits up. And Choba, this brings me to the reality of what we have on ground right now. Before now, we used to think the Almajiri system, was solely a thing of the north. Right now, it's spread across Nigeria, almost every corner. And in Nigeria, you see people who are begging for arms.
Even they have corporate beggars now.
Exactly. Who tell you that they need money for transport? They're always wanting money for transport.
Well, you don't blame them.
Yes, it's true.
The hunger is real.
And that was an interesting one.
Thank you so very much, Emeka.
Thank you very much.
And just to let you know, Emeka will be right here also to take us on the rest of what will come up on Enterprise Morning.
When we return, confusion, complication, or complexity. President Tinubu's aides give conflicting information on whether the president will give an address today. Details when we return.